Oh,
Hey, welcome to episode number 4 of Council of Roots 4 Within the Ring of Fire, the hottest RPG today. Make sure you get your copies of Within the Ring of Fire. You can go to drivethrurpg.com and get your physical copies of the first 5 books for Within the Ring of Fire in hardback or softback. You can also get them in PDF or in bundled forms, including PDFs. You can also hit me up, Anderwood, on Facebook. Feel free to send me a friend request, and you can get a $75 PDF bundle. That will get you all the everything else that will be put out and be coming out for Within the Ring of Fire. Treat yourself to the best deal in RPGs today. Now, you can also come join us on Facebook on our official forum, Raw Immersive Games, about 1,000 people on there. You can find tons of live play, Google and Skype games that you can get in, just like what we're in right here for Within the Ring of Fire. There you can also find local games, and we don't discriminate. You feel free to talk about anything RPG related, and you can find other games as well on there. So it's definitely something you'll want to talk about. We are dedicated to role-playing games, the pure form, the art form, the beauty that lies within. And we hope you join the Magic Mountain Mystery Vista excursion to Peninsula of RPG that we strive for each and every time. And we thank you out there, viewers who have already attuned and turned in to us here within the Ring of Fire. We thank you, and we salute you. Now join the RPG revolution today. Jump on Within the Ring of Fire. Now let me turn it over to our flame tender extraordinaire, Max. Say hello, Max, and welcome us in here, and let the people know just what's really good.
thanks. All right. The last time when we left off, the unlikely group had just exited the forest of fear. Most of them unscathed, unhurt, but everyone tired, famished, exhausted, because even the terrain is trying to prevent passage. The soil seems to shift underneath your feet as you walk. Roots suddenly protrude where you were sure that there were safe footing, and you tumble and you fall and you scratch yourself, and even the trees and their branches seem to claw at you in the dark. But this group has exited this place of nightmare, passed through the twilight, and entered the sun of Rhodoland, and like a starving man presented with a buffet, everyone drinks in the warm rays of the sun, swimming in it, letting it engulf you, letting it heat you from the outside in and then from the inside out, as happiness spreads from the core of everyone outwards, and you can't help but smile, because even though some might be strong of heart, some of the mind and some of the flesh, everyone faces their fears in the forest. But you have emerged alive, and as you stand in the tall grass of Rhodoland, everything would be bliss, but the town for which you made this journey is set ablaze, and a giant pile of smoke is coming from the center of the small town of Anadura, and the smoke is white and black mixed, but not creating a gray. It's kept separated, and it swirls around, creating this twisted vortex-like effect as the smoke rises to the air and creates this cloud of darkness above Anadura, putting it in the shade even though the sun is high in the sky. Please go ahead and describe where your character stands and looks and acts at this point.
All right, so I'm standing there as soon as I step out of the dark forest. First thing I do is I unfurl my wings and I spread them high and I look up at the sky and I see that sun, and there's that drinking in that warmth and feeling separated from perhaps a long lost friend or parent. So I look up, I smile, and then I look back down and I open my eyes and I see that I stand with a very lithe build, quite thin, but tone like that of an athletic runner, long blonde hair, very light skin, nearly or perhaps golden. I have orbs. My eyes have no pupils. They're just these golden, shimmering orbs of righteousness and glory that is from the sun. And from my back extend those golden feathered wings like the wings of a great owl, which they keep expanded, but almost, when I look at that pyre and the smoke, my smile dampens a bit, and I look towards Yagata for guidance. She must have an answer.
Unfortunately, I am in no way looking back at you, my eyes wide, even my exaggerated frame standards, wider still as I stare forward in shock and confusion at the sight that furls in front of me. Not simply that, but the light itself adding to the exaggeration and confusion, its brightness in juxtaposition to the darkness that I have been forced into for so many long hours, so many hours that I have lost track and have no idea. Perhaps there's been days that I have lingered there in the darkness, there in the shade of Aramon, the Shadow King itself, and I stare forward. I suppose it's probably a good enough time to describe anyway. I stand tall and thin, my hair a bright radiant orange color, my eyes very large, and my skin pale as someone born only a few hours past the settling of dawn's hateful pink light. I hold in my hand at the moment two now sun-touched gleaming copper daggers, my jerkin quilted on its front, a wasp within a downward pointing triangle. I begin to firm up my face more like stone than gold reed as I see the sight etched before me. I prepare myself for what needs to be done in the coming moments for my community.
And Dakar as well, if you would like to. You have just exited the forest of fear, and you're basking in this glorious sun, and everything, and it fills you with serenity and calm and happiness. But it's offsetted when you realize that Anadura, at least part of it, seems to be set ablaze. Please describe.
So whatever peace and serenity was coming from the sun, it obviously fails to penetrate this ogre's vicious-looking demeanor. He's tall and lanky. His skin is a light pink riddled with scars. He would be considered ugly even by ogre standards. His eyes, which were filled with forlorn sadness as a result of his recent doubts in his own rage, all that sadness immediately turns to fury when he sees the smoke billowing from the town as if it has just been attacked. In his mind, he thinks that perhaps the biters had come to wreak their vengeance when he was not there to protect them, because he knows that they are all cowards. He pulls at the leather strap at his side, letting the ogre sling drop to the grassy ground. And without looking to see if his companions are moving in the same direction, he immediately starts forward towards the town, hungry for vengeance, uh, like grinding his massive toothy jaws together in anticipation for violence.
And as you run, Anadora approaches fast. Your large, muscular body sending tremors in the earth as you run. But it's an exhilarating feeling to run, because always when you ran within the forest, you constantly had to evade roots and trees, and you had to look over your shoulder. But this time you can run freely. You can run as fast as you can. You can really, and the air here is it's lighter. It feels better to breathe, and as you run, you are filled with adrenaline and the surge
As
that you
only an
feel.
ogre could, Dakar finds peace in the violence that he knows is about to come.
I see him go, and I just turn to Yagata. What shall we do?
For once, my eyes dart from the left to the right. The ogre is right, and I follow after. My long legs, thin but muscular, and well made for running. And the run I do, with fear fueled for what destruction may await my people if I am not there to be strong enough to save them.
And I turn like over my shoulder, looking back at the forest, as she books it, and I give a sneer, as if blaming that, just the forest in its entirety behind me, before I turn back and I extend my wings and I blast off with a buffet of wind, following after the two.
As I am running,
Dakar shouts at Solmu, tell us what lies before us as you glide in the air.
I keep going.
As I'm running forward towards the village, I make a very quiet prayer. Sitchin, be with me here on this day as the sun gleams down. Let your fire be tasted through the blades I possess. Though copper be the blood of our stay, let them be your stings this day. Let me make them taste the copper and feel your poisoned course inside them. Blow after blow, be with me today, great Mother Bee, great Queen, and I, with your help of watchful wings, shall triumph and deliver destiny to the perpetrators of disharmony, to save this community in your name, my lady. And I just fuel, just running, just pushing it, just running as hard out as I can.
And as you do, Jigada, being a being of the sun, born on the grassy plains of Rhodoland, you run up to the car, matching his pace, and Solmu, you have risen to the air, and the smoke is the white and black smoke. The wind carries it, at least part of it, towards you, and as you breathe it in, you feel slightly nauseous, and you might drop a few meters in the air to avoid it, as the stench it creates is putrid stomach turning, and reminds you of every bad meal you ever had and every byproduct of them. And as every one of you runs, your heart starts beating faster, harder. Your breath, uh, your breath comes faster, and you simultaneously almost crash into the outskirts of Anadura. Just a quick few more strides, you pass some more buildings, and things seem oddly quiet, and you stop almost dead, like on your heels, as you see a great pyre in the center of Anadura, and it's a pyre consisting of fallen debris, but mostly that of fallen Freyin and a couple of ogres, their bodies covered in scratchings, bite mark, claw marks, and large, overwhelmingly large boils and pustules leaking pus into the flames, making cracking noises and creating this white, disgusting smoke. And you can see that most of the inhabitants of Anadura are standing around, some vomiting, others trying to tend to those more severely damaged or hurt, but they're all carrying different uh, boils, carbuncles, these markings, taking their otherwise smooth flesh, making it a bumpy map of decay. And you can also see, if you have a keen eye, that in the Great Pyre, corpses of rats lie everywhere, and it doesn't take too long before you realize that the claw marks are from those rats. The town is in a disorganized state. Just a couple of seconds after you stop, maybe saw me, you witness this from the air. You can see that everyone's kind of standing around, not knowing what to do, as this plague seems to have hit the town out of nowhere. The only one who looks to be in control of the situation, though tired, is the female Freyin that you know as Yaya, as she tends to the shattered Freyin known as Malia. And as you enter the town center, she, also covered in tiny red sits almost, that she scratches at, and they bleed profusely. She turns to you, Jagada and Dekar, and she looks at you with eyes that are only half aware of the of what's going on around you, and she turns to you, Dekar, and says, Did you slay them for my husband? Please tell me
No,
that you...
we didn't. We only caught a few of them, and we weren't able to get them all. He looks really disappointed because he was expecting for there to be maybe a raiding party or something, but you can't smash a plague, you can't kill a disease with an axe. And so he says to her, we weren't able to find what was causing this infestation, but they escaped. He looks to Yagata to help explain what went on in the forest.
I actually don't lean in to help out with the explanation. I continue to survey the scene with my eyes, taking in this plague that has overtaken us. Knowing a little about religion, I know plagues are the things of Azay de Haka, and I know that this root, this horrid thing, was similarly such a thing, and I found there to be a correlation. There's certainly some sorts of foul demonolatry in place here. So I begin to scan furiously, trying to figure out specifically what is occurring.
I stay up in the air, flying around. I don't land. I keep flying. I don't want anyone to see I fly to a height where no one could sort of make out my facial expression as I'm stifling a mixture of fear, anger, and of tears as I weep. I brush my hand over my golden eyes, smudging some of the makeup, eyeliner that I had put. It already was messed up, but now it's messed up even more as I sort of look down and just almost in awe. I keep sort of circling around, almost like a vulture, just sort of looking. But I'm taking this time to I'm sort of formulating my mind. I can't let them see me be
Instead
weak.
of
So I'm
sorry.
just up there and I keep sort of swirling around.
So instead of like continuing talking, Dakar takes a sling, wraps it around his hand, and puts it to his face as if to keep himself from taking in whatever sickness that these people around him are coughing out. Are there any ogres who look to be visibly sick?
Yes, though they seem to be in a much better state of
Hmm.
mind. They have taken to the rage to act as almost like a not an antidote, but something that would help with the symptoms. So they're beating their chests, striking at the earth, at each other. One of the ogres seemed to almost uh, take a bite, trying to take a bite of its neighbor before receiving a swift uh, elbow to the face and focusing his attention instead to the soil. And they are
So
a raging
Dakar
mess.
looks to the healthiest, or the one who seems to be doing the best, and
Mm.
he approaches unperturbed by their rage, as for him rage is the most natural state. So he willingly wades towards an ogre, regardless if he's beating his chest or trying to bite his brother. If the ogre comes at him, then he'll embrace him, and if the ogre struggles against him, he will hold him still using his own superior strength. Because among the ogres, he uh, after Faragher was one respected. He's powerful, even as ogres go. So he gets hold of one of the ogres who's doing. Seems like they're doing the best, and he says, "I bring news, brother." As he wrestles with that ogre, and tries to calm him down, tries to bring him out of his rage and to conquer his rage with his own. And as soon as he
Mm.
gets that ogre's attention from trying to fight off the disease around him with his rage, I bring news, brother. Faragher has fallen. And he says, he shakes him, he tries to get that message through, and hopefully the other ogres around him can hear him when he brings this news.
Mm. And as you struggle to keep this ogre still, he he finally snaps out of it and speaks to you, and he tells you that I can't fight this enemy. It's not a visible one, but look, it has struck you too, and the place where your chest met his, you can see that some of the tinier red dots and markings of this sickness has transferred onto your already red skin, so it's only noticeable when your fingers glide across it and you can feel the now coarse surface. Though you don't feel ill, but this doesn't look good.
It is no
Uh,
matter to him. To Dakar, death is always around the corner, and he's not focused about on whether or not he's going to die or whether or not he's going to get sick. He has no idea how this disease spreads. He doesn't even notice that he may have gotten infected. Instead, he just says, "We must take whatever strength we have left and go into the forest and take as many biters as we can with us in Faraghar's name."
yes, many of the ogres have rallied around you now in the absence of
These,
Faragur.
And so Dakar starts to tell the story of Dakar's last moment, how he paid witness to his valiant end as he took out biters after biters, even as the evil of the forest plants took him and took everything around him. He raged until the very end, and he tells that story in order to pay respects to Faragur.
And the ogres, they're excited to hear that he met a fulfilling death. He raged truly, and his name will be known. And
So he
they
says,
gather around you.
so he says to all the ogres, "Stay angry, stay mad. I don't care if this disease makes you hurt. Keep fighting, and let's go get those fucking biters."
And they
So he
strike on
shouts to
their
them.
chests, and
Yeah,
they
so he tries to
let up.
get them hyped up so they can fight through the disease and strike
Mm.
back at what Dakar thinks is the cause. He obviously is blaming this pestilence on the Mihangi, and he's trying to get a force to go into the forest and go after him.
Mm. And one of the ogres, the rats came out of nowhere. They hit us at night, bit at us, and they were
They
so
are
tiny.
cowards. This is the method they use.
Yes, my fists could not
Cowards, he
reach
shouts.
them. I tried to stomp on one, says another. I did, said a third, and he shows the carcass of a rat nearby. Though the Freeans are doing far worse. The tranquil state doesn't really soothe this the itching and the burning sensation of the worse boils and like these enlarged pus-filled cysts. And when Junaya sees that Jagada has returned, she in one breath asks her to remain calm and not to touch anyone, for they are sick. I am sick. And she pulls down on her light clothing, showing her her skin, and she as well has these large markings. Rats, Jigada. They came from the forest. They trampled our town, and they continued west. And she looks, and she follows her finger, gazing at the west. Freyahim is that way. I'm so glad you're safe. Try to remain that way. You should be put into quarantine.
No, death is coming for us all. Don't you understand? We all die, and now death comes to us soon. What matters is how we live, and what matters is how we end, he shouts. He's not letting go of the rage as I guess, his whole existence has been anger and frustration. And now, even when he's riddled with disease, this is no different for him. He his concern isn't that he's sick or that he's going to die. His concern is how he dies. So he's not going to stay calm. He's going to keep getting angrier and pissed off and trying to get the other ogres around him just as angry and just as pissed off.
I am digging a large pit at the moment, or really, I should say more of a trench, and gathering many burnable items. Being that we are in Ulfstride, there are some wood items which would be in common elsewhere in Rotterland, and I will begin to bring many such items together, starting a large fire inside of this trench dug area, and allow the flame, the face of Morgul, to come to spark, to grow in glory from these consumable items, to stare into the flame itself. And as the flame crackles and pops and burns, filling the air with the smell of destroying pine, the smell of burning golden reed, the smell of vines that have been dried and now are being sacrificed to Morgul itself, as the faces slowly come leering from the flames to observe, as is their right to observe. I look into the fire. I fan into my face the smoke as the airborne embers go errantly by, popping. I look into the flame and say, Morgul, spirits, Grandfather Flame, look upon this world. Look upon these debased flesh lands to which you have been tied by time. See what afflicts us. See the demons of darkness that emulate from the corpses of your flesh-bound family, of your fervent followers, of your worshippers, of those who kindly claim love for you, O great face of flame. Banish, put back, and come, please, I beseech you, to battle and burn the demonic forces that spread plague, disease, those things of Azidearka that come seeping from that cursed wood. Be our vigilant guardian or our guide. Show us these things, force them to manifest here into the flesh, so that we may cut them, hurt them, and we may let them be burned by your glory. Fire is pure. Fire cleans. Let the unwholesome be cleaned in your great glory, O parent of Sitchin, O followers of Sitchin. Please, we beseech you, we need you. And I waft the flame as I use my clergy ritual to speak with the spirits of the flame as the flame itself I have produced. And I beseech them to help us fight back against the demonic forces that are assembled here to spread their despicable disease.
And as you do, the flame it grows, and it creates these large puffs of smoke which you buffet in the air, and suddenly all around you your bees from your keepings have emerged, and as if sprayed by a bee smoker, the smoke enters them, and they are calm, unlike everything else in Anadura.
Bathe in the smoke, my little loved ones.
And they gather around you, swarming to you, making you for a second their queen, as your scent drives them towards you, and their buzzing noises are coming rhythmically now for you, and as they pass your ear, they do so almost in a way of Morse code, and you start to make sense of the light fluttering of their wings. And as they swirl around you, if anyone looks upon you, they would have a hard time making out your facial features, as bees are swirling all around you. And with a final buffet of smoke, they suddenly take to their own devices. They spread out, and they start almost trying to hover near the ears of the nearby Freen. They seem to act in pairs of two, trying to putting themselves on the left and right side of their ears, and it seems like the buzzing is helping to give these tortured Freen some focus, and the wailing and moaning are not dissipated, but they are lowered, and the buzzing, which was all around you, the sounds, they create imagery in your mind, and with the inhale of smoke limiting the air to your lungs, you are struck with visions, and they are accompanied by this buzzing sound coming to you rhythmically, and you are suddenly very aware that and as you dance around in this smoke, you keep buffeting and helping this flame rise, and with the and with your efforts, you are put in this trance-like state, and you are made aware that she is nowhere around, and you can tell that a huge being, that you can only make out in its silhouette, is standing behind her, a hand on her shoulder, and from it you feel a nauseating pulse almost strike your body, and you feel that there is a connection surely between her, something about her, and this plague that has struck Anadura.
And I think back in my own mind, recalling images in my mind's eye, etching them upon my brain. I think back to her there in the dark wood, that red-eyed thing I saw sitting upon her shoulder in that horrid, blasphemous place to the east. And I glare towards the image, and I know that that is a threat to my home, and the threat cannot be allowed.
And with the aid, with the aid of your bees, not really, people are starting to be able to have small, hasty conversations with each other. Some ask if they're the person sitting next to them in the grass, if they're doing okay. Some are expressing sorrow for those who have perished, who it seems that the Freeans have in desperation decided to burn, so that the pustules not reproduce and carry over to the next in line. And with this enhanced calm, I guess, Yaya approaches you, and she talks to you. If you're still dancing, she tries to get your attention, and she doesn't want to touch you, but she calls out to you.
And I'm very ecstatic in my dance, pushing forward the spiritual waves and essences to the bees, to the smoke, fanning and perfuming, bathing the bees, the smoke, connecting the real, the flesh, with the ethereal, with the mystical. And I twirl very ballerina-like towards her, and I look at her with strong, dominant eye contact. Seeing what is going to be said, what's going to be done.
Mm. And she speaks in a lowered voice, and she said that Celevis, the leader of the lumber suppression guild, she has already left for the forest. She has taken every healthy Freeing she could find. She left the ogres to their own devices. She told me they are not to be trusted, not now. But you must, please, I can see that you have made it out alive, and I am excited. This is fantastic news, but now is not the time for celebration for our town. And she looks around. It's dying.
Celebrate? What do you speak of? I do not celebrate. I cast out the demons with the force of wind and flame. I call upon the spiritual to aid us in this battle against the dark side of purity.
Yes, it seems you have done much good here. The townsfolk, they are calmer, but I have no ointments for this disease. No herbs, no cure. I do not. She seems frustrated, sad, tired. I do not know what to do, Yugada. Please, tell me you bring good news from the forest.
I didn't know that I could say I bring good news. No, there is some sort of witch there in the forest we were able to elude. There is something very strange about the human that entered the forest with us, the short one. There's a strange place with strange bearded males and cans of death, loathsome in their demeanor, aspect, and stature. Still, we found much terror there.
Oh, well, I guess I've been I've been I've been wishing for your swift return, and I've prayed, I must admit, that you would bring a cure, anything to aid us. And you already have your little buzzing friends have soothed the wails of pain.
Yes.
We must.
I have been unable to find that which I entered the forest for. However, I did find out more about the spore of that strange demonic concoction they attempted to bury in the pit they dug upon the slight hill, and I point towards it. There, that their warlock, and I say questioningly, brought about a scourge and plague, and I think this is such the same warfare of the soul, of the essence, and a war that must be won here at home, for home is all there is, and when it is gone, you have nothing. Barely even a whisper of life left, tubed inside flesh that has no place to call its own. This is the words and the wisdom that Sitchin seeks to fight back, to beat back, to bring the sting against, to bring the power, flame and wind, the power that I spoke to the bees, that I bathed them in smoke, that I danced and called upon. But if it is that wood, that dark shadowed place of horror that we have barely, with the smallest shimmer and shine of life left within us, if it is in that dark place that we must plunge ourselves again, if that is what you are hinting at, if that is the reflected echo of their words back from your mouth. I look down, like, just distraught. And I suppose, and I try to summon courage, I suppose that we shall endeavor. I look towards it, like the last thing in the world I want.
No, I agree. We have to combat this in the sun, on our turf. We need to tend to those who are hurt. Try to save as many as we can. But it seems, if I didn't mishear you, that you have found the keep of those who might have caused this plague on our lands. And if you have, we should mount a counter offense towards them, for they will come again. And these rats, they were fierce. They, in the middle of the night, they entered like a black wave. They struck at all and everything living. Even their excrements were volatile to our health. Di over there tried to just pick it up and remove it from her doorstep, and she looked at her hand, and you can see that there are bruises and markings following all the way up to her elbows, and you can see that droplets of sweat are pouring from her, beating up and pouring from her skin, and she's sitting, head slumped down, listening intensely to the two bees circling around. her head. But Celevis, she has never trusted the ogres, but I fear that her hasty entry into the dark forest will be met by certain demise without their strength and their rageful courage, even if it is brutish.
The place you spoke of, this keep, but the hairy little creatures that inhabited it, they are very much dead, I assure you.
Oh,
They had iron, but they were met with copper. There was a basement, but a strange warding there. The human disappeared and intact. Now that I think of it, she seemed odd since that point. Well, somewhat odd before that,
where
I confess.
where is she? She
I saw her in the shadow as I conducted the ritual. I see her not now. She is gone, but I saw a red-eyed rat upon her shoulder there in the dark wood, where the tall pine looms abysmally towards the sky.
Junai, she swears in her native tongue, which almost seems to be an affront to the language, and she sighs heavily, and I knew we should not trust a being calling itself something as silly as a human. Of course she was sent by those wolf fairies.
Certainly may be
Did
the
you
case.
say that she not with you? We need to. Oh, I do not know what to do. This rage is a bad color on me. I do not care for it, not one bit.
I thought she was there behind me as I exited the wood, but in the light she seems to have evaporated as quickly as Elsam's tears.
Please, you gotta try not to touch anyone or really anything at this point, and please call your bewinged ally down from the sky. We need to assemble those in a good enough condition to speak and figure out our next move.
I point towards you, Salmu, but then I start to think for a minute, like maybe I'm like condemning you to catch some kind of disease. I look around. Let us have all such things brought to the flame. Let us make many more fires, and pray to Morgul, and pray to Sitchin, and pray that we may find salvation in light and fire. For these are the things that the Mihan Gi, that the Ofar hate, and that which they hate is good. For there shall be no shadow, there shall be no shade, there shall be illumination, there shall be the consuming flame. Let them send their clothing into the flame. Let them send anything in their homes that might be tainted into the flame. Let us burn all that may bear the crawling curse of this demonic infestation. Let the disease not take us, not claim our home. Let it be incinerated, as is the will of those we shall pray to, as the wind whispers and directs us with guidance. O Igvail, O Morgul, O Sitchin, direct these demons down to the hell that they deserve. Let them be burned. Let them be cleansed. Let filth die. Let them not claim us. Now! And I look around everyone orderingly. No, I don't have a huge
And so Dakar shouts, yes, burn, burn away the tainted flesh. And so the ogres have gotten into this kind of ritualistic
Yes!
party where they start to get a torch and slowly put it to the diseased flesh on their body, burning away whole patches of sickly skin. And then where the ogres first respond in pain, sure, then turns into a shout of anger. It's like, yes, burn! And then they start making pyres, tearing off their clothes, throwing it to a pyre, lighting it, lighting themselves on fire, just complete ogre madness. And they're following her orders in a very ogurely way.
I look down, kind of swirling around, and I see the events happening.
I motion you down to the ground.
And like you see me stop, and I'm hovering there, like slowly flapping my wings, looking down, and my hand is to my face and over my mouth, and then I sort of pull my hand away, and I suddenly become very stoic and very, very stable in my expression, and I look back up at the sun. Now, what time of day is it? Does it look like? I should ask.
It's just hours after daybreak.
Okay. All right. So the sun hasn't really reached its zenith yet. So I'm just sort of, I look off at that, and then I look back down, and I slowly begin to glide down, thinking in my mind that I should do something. I have to do something. As I slowly glide down, I land on one of the nearby buildings, just on top of them, just like one of the bulbous sort of structures, and I land there, and I'm just getting a better look at what's going down more at ground level. I was preoccupied with other things in the sky, but I just land there, and I look, and I see the sickness. I just sort of watch them. I don't help them. I don't go down. I'm a bit more in a calculative mood. So my face just has a very stoic look. I'm just sort of watching. That's it.
And as Yagata speaks up and roars at the crowd to be put into motion, your bees as well enter a more aggressive state. They shake the effect of the smoke, losing their calm, and almost beating on the like pushing and not stinging, but crashing into the Freens, trying to, for those that stop and try to lie down, they pressure them to stand. They need to keep moving at this point, because if they fall down, they might never rise again. And slowly, people almost like there are shells of their former selves. They are almost walking corpses. They drag makeshift tables and everything that might have been, everything with a scratch mark, everything with a claw mark, and their pieces of clothing. They're ripping it off in large chunks, throwing it at fires, and suddenly, within moments, many great flames have been started, and for those having trouble starting the flames, some material already flaming is tossed over, some is kicked by an ogre, and soon everyone is almost standing in the middle of a ring of fire, and the heat which is being put forth by these flames are almost like a sweat lodge, and people are sweating immensely, breathing heavy, but you can see that with the sweating, some color is returned to their skin, and the pustules seem to almost dry up, and if you look at the bigger picture, a lot less of this stinking pus is being expunged from them. They are The bees, the flames, the smoke, all of these agents seem to be calming the sickness, keeping it at bay, at least for now. And with the ogres, they're thrashing about. They are not quiet, but Yaya commands everyone's attention only briefly as she gestures towards Jigada and Somu. Everyone, please calm down, listen, for these have returned from the forest of fear, and they have things that they might want to share with you. And then I must ask you, afterwards I will ask you one very difficult thing, but for now, please, Somu, Jagada, if you will, tell everyone what you have experienced, what you told me before.
And like, if there's not enough attention, for like when she gestures to Yagata, like it's not really to me, but when she gestures to Yagata, you know, I'm outside the ring, the little ring of fire. Then she says that, and you know, I think in my mind, I filthy dog attack. How dare you speak to me? And then I expand my wings, and I just sort of leap from the building, from the top of the like a bulbous house, and then I gently glide into the center of the ring, and I buffet my wings a bit more and like sort of pushing back the nearby fire, and I'd land next to Yagata, almost like acting as like, you know, now you pay attention to her now, and I'm sort of beside her, and I use my wings that like just the buffet of wind as like as a calling, you know, to bring their attention. I mean, and then there's a moment when they look at me, and then I gesture and I bow towards Yagata.
And they follow your hand pointing to Yagata, and they seem spellbound by the event as they sit inside this almost miniature of Kivegathale, fire in a ring all around them. They look towards what now seems to be the center of the earth. Yagata.
I look up, losing myself for a moment in the grace and beauty that is Solmo, distracting me even from my holy journey, but for only a moment, as I rededicate focus, furrow my brow. Yes, we must all be vigilant. We must all become pure. Many of you have become sullied and stained by your own corruption, by your own lack of care for the sisters and brothers, for the love that is the heartstone of community. Focus internally. Meditate upon purging from you your greed, your selfishness. Think of the community. Think of the needs of all, the interlocking, the joining. Why we must have this place function like the bee, like the wasp. Take lead from these pure animals, for they are the guidance of Sitchin's plan and way in perfect unity, in understanding of what comes first, of selflessness. We must be selfless. You must be selfless who wear the stain of sin, for you have invited the demon into your flesh to dance beneath your skin. Say unto the demon, no! Go out from me. Expel it with your mind, with your thoughts, with the beating of kindness and love for each other in your hearts. Bathe in the smoke, burn your flesh, but ever so tenderly in the cleansing flame of Morgul. Allow the breeze of Igvale to pass over, to blow the golden rod, to invigorate your mind, to give you strength to fight again and again. Do not give in to the ease of cowardice. Battle back against it. Purge away demonic thought. Love of self is a root to evil. Love of all that is part of your community. That is a road to truth. Walk that road and see the scaled boils, the pox of red slide from you. You must have strength. You must not fail. You must not be a weakling of spirit to give in to that loathsome aspect that even now crawls and dirties your soul. Push it out through your tears. Push it out through your sacrifice. Burn your flesh. Bring in the smoke to perfume your body. Exhale the demons. Let them go.
And with these words, slowly, all of the Freens who have been sitting, they stand up and they try to stretch out their limbs to their full extent, gasping for air, and they breathe in the smoke, and their eyes, they tear up from standing up and now being within the impromptu cloud of smoke that is being made by this trench of fire all around you. And some even let out like a muffled scream, and their eyes are becoming red, and they are crying. And one woman, common in every regard, stands in front of everyone, as now everyone has burned their clothing. It is a gathering of naked ogres and Freen. She stands perfectly average, but her voice is serene. It's calm and it's strong, even though her posture might be weak. I will not fall today. I will make it through this. I will sweat out this curse. I will not let the demons that dance under my skin take a hold of my soul. I will follow you, God. I will follow serenity, and I will not let these demonic entities claim me. I stand besides you if you will have me.
I smile gently. Yes, of course I will have you. You, and you, and you, big ogres. Bring forth those, and I look at it like just disgustedly, animal skins that you have. Bring forth those large poles. Quickly, do it!
And so the ogres, they've been following what everyone else is doing, but in their own sort of ogre way. When you said to breathe in and breathe out, the ogres are hyperventilating with anger. When you said to stretch out, they instead like threw their limbs out and wild and crazy, almost throttling one another. And they sweat out and cried out just as much, but with an expression of anger. And so when you ask for their attention, they're all still sort of lost in their own little rages. That is their way to get the poisons from their body, trusting in Mool and the original lesson of anger and fury that he taught them. But they eventually catch their attention, and they explode into motion to gather the animal skins and add them to the pyre of flames that has created this moment of fellowship in rage, and also fellowship and peace, and they add them to the pyre.
Well, no, as they begin to do this, no, erect them. Erect the skins and throw them over the high wood, the high poles. We shall make...
So hurriedly, they grab it out of the flame and try to, like, dab the flame off. And they proceed to erect them.
And inside the structure we shall make flame, and from this flame we shall hold in the smoke, and in this flame and in this place where the smoke is clear, where it will choke, breathe deeply into the smoke itself, and choke and choke and cough, and as you cough, you will bring out the tainted touch of the demon. There, in this edifice, to holy Morgul, where the wind shall be outside of blessed Igvale to carry away the demons far, far to the other side of the face of Kvegathale. Here inside this makeshift lodge, you shall sweat the demons from your brow and from your ears, and you shall inhale the smoke until you cough deeply and hard, until it is difficult to even take in the breath that is Igvale. You shall expel what has been put in you, and you shall look around at all those others and see how they suffer, and know they are yours, and they are as much you as you are them, each to each other, and that is the riddle of the word community, the understanding of love and hate, of suffering, of a greater good, a culmination of flesh and word and idea and ideal, of future. That is what we fight them for. Do not let them be here now to take from us, to steal. With their ways of Aramod's shining, gleaming moon, expel it from you! Expel it! And tears have formed in my smoke-filled eyes, as I pant slightly myself, as they erect the structure around me, as burning sticks are brought in, as coal is dumped upon the flame, as the smell of peat moss rises with burning pine, with burning golden reed, with vines that have been allowed to sit for chains on end, browned and ready to crackle in the flames and the glory of Morgul, and all such things burn up as smoke billows, and in that smoke, in that flame, eyes are seen watching. And I say holy words in the tongue of Morgul, my voice cracking and crackling, high though it is, as I speak words of anointment as a priestess of Sitchin, as I call to the winds as a priestess of Sitchin, as a shaman, as a holy woman, and I find myself bathed in the light and in the wind and in the buzzing of small bees and in the buzzing of small wasps that come and circle about the tent that is filled with smoke, and I make each and every one of them inhale, breathe in deeply the smoke, and choke them away from the air. And as one group is brought in and choked deeply, and they cough and cough and cough and cough, I roll them from the room, myself beating with sweat, my eyes burning from smoke, and my mouth nearly completely dry and tasting of ash. And I take the ash itself and I begin to make markings on them, the mark of the wasp upon their forehead, a sigil, a seal, hopefully enough to drive the demons. And I wipe them with fresh linens, their faces, getting all of the sweat, all of those horrible things, and then the linens themselves are consigned as well to the flame, so the demons may pay the price and taste the agony. And I do this until everyone is clear, and everyone themselves is nude and naked, as their clothes are consigned to the fire, as the skids themselves, loathsome as they are made holy in the smoke, and then the individuals are laid out on the fields so Igvale may carry away the demons, and bees settle and buzz and watch over the assembly. And I do this until I fall and collapse onto my knees, mucus coming from my nose, and I cough hard and long.
As you,
So
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Dakar follows directions, but as he's laying out in the field, he finds it hard to stay still, even as the sickness is carried away from his body by the gentle winds. the fire of rage still burns in the pit of his stomach, but he struggles. Seeing what he has seen, he knows that there's great power at work here, and that it would best be to stay still, if only for a moment.
And as you bring people into this this construction filled with smoke, and as you grab them, as you make these markings upon their body, almost everyone can't help but enter into this dance of coughing and stretching and sweating and fading almost in and out of consciousness, as with every breath they get delirious, and they sometimes have twirl around you, almost tripping. You have to, even though you are straining yourself, the smoke enters you and it fills you, not in the same way as everyone else. It still hurts you, but it has its own exuberant feeling inside of you, and you help these people stand up, and they are ushered out when they are at and held at their limit to the very breaking point. They are ushered out, falling, coughing up large amounts of, some of them blood, and all of them are touched by ash, touched by flame, touched by wind, touched by you and the spirits who you have summoned this day, and they all lie in the golden reed. Their skin, their fair skin is almost glowing from the flame, and in comparison to the ash marks, they are as if lit ablaze. Only one Freein has not entered your tent. It's Malia, the shattered one, the one who has not seen the gestalt of the daydream for so long now. She who has existed in this quasi-reality, being tended to by Yaya for many Shanes now, and she, when everyone has collected themselves, she still, and you can visibly see the pustules retracting, the boils are turning flesh colored, and they are smaller. It seems like it's working. Some people are standing up, some are sitting. Water is being passed around as people gurgle it around their mouth, and they spit out this ash-filled, almost slippery goo that has formed in the insides of their mouth. But Malia, standing with an arched back, looking far more than a hag than Yaya ever did, though accusations has always been placed upon her for her healing prowess. Malia stands now with the majority of the Freein sitting down. Yaya, you and her create these almost two towers at either end of the gathering, and she points a shaking hand towards both Solmu and Jugada. Oh, you are fools to think that you can do anything. Look at you, beekeeper. What good have this done? You have only prolonged suffering. Can't you see that? Can't you see, all of you? You are not fighters. You are not meant for this. You will perish. The woods will overtake each and every one of you, and your souls will be stripped from you, sucked from your eyeballs. They will enter the shapes of wolves, and you will run with them. You will run, and you will torch Freyahim. Don't you see that you will perish? Everyone will.
I smack her right in the face and drive her to the ground. Prolonging suffering. is what life is. As she hits the ground, I grab her by the ankles and I drag her into the tent so that she too may benefit from this. Even though you're mad, broken, and shattered,
Oh,
you are still part of this community. That means
curse you!
you have a responsibility. Now shut your mouth. They've been through a lot today.
I
And
will not accept.
I drag her in
Dragged
there
in.
and I begin to anoint her with ash and make her sweat.
And she throws at you every curse, every foul word she can. She promises you pain, suffering. She speaks now not as a Freyin. She speaks more like a being comprised solely of agony. She promises you that no serenity will ever enter your body once more, and as she tries to um she has nothing. She has no strength of the flesh left, and even less so now that she is being exposed to the smoke. So she uses the only weapon that she feels is in her possession, and she curses you long and hard, using every word in her vocabulary. Some might even be from species whom she've met, because you do not recognize them. They do not sound like those of the wolf fairies, more like when Shia stubbed her foot on a particularly large rock. She swore in a language which you guess must be the language of the human, of the clayman. And all this is being thrown at you, though.
There even is such a thing.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily believe in humans, and I don't pay any mind. Like all the insults, I just let them pass by me as if they themselves were air. I realize she is broken. I do not mean to antagonize her. I merely mean to make sure that even the sick and weak are cared for. But at the same time, she had to be made an example of, as her efforts were directly against the community itself.
And I've been assisting Yagata through this entire process. You know, when people are laid down, I stay clothed. I'm wearing just a simple sort of dark green robe, really, with a copper chain around my waist that has my kopesh there. And I gently sort of waft my wings as people lay down. You know, I'll gently waft near them, pushing air over them. Pushing a cool sort of breeze over them as they rest and they relax and whatnot. My compassion, my love for these people. I even do it to the ogres as I gently sort of flap my wings. I'm just
More air,
standing.
boy. More air. He shouts.
And I'll continue doing it, and seeing all of them, I'm just. I do give it a little bit of a disgruntled look, like, and then I move towards some, like, a couple new frames that were laid down. But I do keep like a very firm eye on the men and women, specifically the ogre men and freeing women, as everyone is nude. I am thinking of something completely different, and order should be maintained at all times. I am keeping a close eye. Like if an ogre man gets too close to a woman, like I'll just sort of step closer. I'll very casually put my hand on the kopesh and continue, using my presence, my aura to sort of calm them down a bit, with the buffets of wind and. But I am almost acting as I don't know, like a guardian
Yeah.
through this sort of process. Not really saying much. Just doing what I can to help.
And it seems that the women greatly appreciate your efforts, even though you are a man, for you are keeping unwanted attention from them, so that they may feel purged and you're in this quite volatile situation. And as you buffet your wings, they act as bellows for the flame, which rises, then descends, creating large puffets of smoke. And you undoubtedly have helped Yugada in her ritual. And many eyes are fixated upon you as you walk like a golden mirage among the ash-covered Phrygians who are still struggling, many still struggling to breathe with a consistent pace. And slowly but surely, people sit up. The fuel for the flames dissipates, and the flames are now more fickle. They are almost embers. And with this, Yaya speaks up once more. You who have been to the forest of fear, you told me that the cause of this plague, that you know the origin, their keep. Can we enter it? Would you be able to even find it again?
Yugata is very skilled in the arts of tracking the woods. She found our way out, but this keep, yes, it is quite familiar. We would know it if we saw it, but unfortunately there is black magic cast upon that strange building. Men with hair upon their face, on their chins, encased in metals. They are strange, infected surely, as this disease has come to you all now.
But
Yugata and I were not allowed into this keep, for she spoke of there to be a lower underground basement. I do not know. There we could not go, but the ogre over there, and I gesture towards Dakar, he was quite adamant in going. He did not seem to be warded away by the same black magics as Yagata and I did. I'm just saying that to Unaya. Like there's a bit of like held back disgust, looking at her, being a dark talk, I'm just like a bit more like very matter of factly just telling her these things. Like, oh, I gotta talk to you. All right.
After purging themselves, Dakar and the rest of the ogres around him feel a strong sense of community and unity after what they'd all just shared. So Dakar, filled with that sense of unity with his fellow ogres and still having that burning sense of rage in the pit of his stomach, he needs to find a bit of control for the moment so that, they can focus their anger at a suitable target and that he can experience a more worthy end. So he leads his fellow ogres towards the inn, and he will attempt to acquire some alcohol, as is his custom.
Dakar, where are you going?
You're going to get a drink.
Be sure that you return.
We'll be right back out.
So
he goes and he gets just get as much alcohol as the inn is willing to spare. Everyone has discarded all of their possessions. So, seeing as how this is a particular circumstance, they don't bother to pay anyone. So they just gather, the ogres just gather all of the alcohol that they can find, and they bring it out, and they set it down not just for themselves, but also for the rest of the community, including the Freyine around them. And so he gets some strong alcohol, and he mixes it with some of the water left over that was passed around to the community, so it waters it down. Because at this point, he's probably super dehydrated, and even he realizes he needs some water. But after that, they just start drinking, and once he gets a few goblets of wine inside of him, he approaches at the rest of everyone else's soul move. Right. So what's this? What's the next plan?
You should pace yourself, Dakar. You mustn't be fallen too far into your cups. Fall to a slumber.
It just makes me hit harder.
Perhaps rest is needed for us all.
I'm ready to go. We need to strike back now. We need to figure out where those biters are. There's got to be a fortress somewhere.
You saw how many there were there in the dark wood, Dakar. They're out there. And I just sort of generally gesture at the distant wood. They are there. Do not have to go far. I do not think that we should act hastily in this. We must prepare first. And I stop what I was about to say, and then I kind of look for where Yagata is, and then almost like am I stepping out of line kind of thing? Like I'm like
deferring to Yagata again. Dakar also looks around. Wait, yeah.
So I look over you at this point, still in my face, I look overwhelmed and stunned from the entire, but yet with an inner resolve and strength quite evident. I sort of stagger over to you. I smell incredibly like smoke. It's on my skin, it's in my hair, it's in my quilted jerkin and the leggings. And I stagger over to you, and I just sort of reach my hand out, looking at the assorted wines and ales that you have brought forward. You could just from looking at me,
hands her a goblet, looking at her with
probably very thirsty.
He's looking at her with a look of bewilderment at the massive ritual that she just achieved. He looks at her in a completely different light, and is very willing to hand her a drink.
I look like I'm nearly about to fall down. Thank you. My gratitudes. And I imbibe deeply.
Perhaps rest is needed. Seeing that, and then
pours down my chin and neck and stains my white jerkin.
I feel the touch of the gods going through my skin. I feel Mool's anger in the pit of my stomach, and so do my fellow ogres. We need to take advantage of this second wind and go now.
Very well. And I look like I'm down for it, but I might walk 15 feet and I look very mystically drained. However, in a way, reinvigorated as well from the strength and combining, the sanitizing of the community itself.
You gotta.
Let's go. And I look at you, and there's kind of like a look behind the eyes, like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going. I've been so caught up in everything I'm doing, like, yes. And I'm holding on to the tankard. And I take another swig, very clearly very thirsty. I'm kind of wiping back a mix of ash and little burn marks on myself and sweat. And I turn and look at you, Soul Moo. I seem emboldened, and I don't look towards the ground. I seem almost to have some degree of confidence as I make eye contact. And, yes, Soul Moo. Oh, what is it?
Do you think that is advised? Many of those here, they will need you, and surely your strength will be with you now, Dakar, but as it has shown, it is not forever. It is rather, what if we feel this now, and as we approach the forest, it leaves us, or perhaps A few moments after we go into the forest, and we are easy prey for the Ulfars to find us. No, 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 I
Car thinks
advise
back. He
upon a
thinks back
rest.
at the image of himself nearly collapsing after exploding into battle rage. He thinks about it for a second. He's,
I understand your need for
he,
vengeance for your fellow ogre, Dakar, but uh, you may have your time of revelry with your drink, uh, but this will be one of freeing make, of meditation, of purging, of this sickness, not one of foul debauchery of the flesh. You understand?
that is how we come together as a community. I don't know about you and what you do in the sky with all the rest of the birds, but that is how me and my men come together as one.
I saw.
Don't you dare mock it.
I'm not mocking you. I would never do such a thing. You are strong and you are very brave. I hold both of those aspects in high regards.
All right. Look. All right. I'll go talk to my boys about it. We'll figure something out. But we need to go in the morning, and we need to plan it tonight if we're gonna do it.
As you wish.
Getting ready starts now.
Well, it's always best to go a little after the morning. Such an accursed time.
I agree.
And
I go to get myself a tankard, seeing you got a drink, and I'm kind of
and
being thirsty as well, just being in fire and the smoke. I mean, I didn't indulge in that sort of ceremony, but I did help all that I can because I care for these people very deeply.
and as you sit, pouring maybe your third drink for the evening, at least refilling the cups so they look appetizing. Yaya sits down with you, and she almost in a whisper, but not. She doesn't try to whisper in the way that would attract attention. Just speaks with a low voice. I haven't been completely sincere with you, I'm afraid. And for this I am sorry. I thought that the more you knew the more danger you would be in. The root children that I asked you to try to find within the Forest of Fear, they are called Mandragora. They are spawns who I must admit are of me and my sister's creation. We tried to combat the forest with the forest, tried to make it eat upon itself like a parasite. So we took roots and we tried to possess them with light, tried to breathe light into them, but they would not bend to our will. And in the night, those little root children would hang from the tits of my sisters, drinking their blood from their breast as if it were mother's milk. And they all, every one of them succumbed, growing large, red. They grew red and they almost looked as if their spines were trying to escape from their backs. And we were alone back then, so I tried to calm them, tried to sedate them with the herbs that we had gathered, but they started speaking in a tongue that I hardly could make out that as the Sassiasian anymore, and I'm afraid that I asked you to find these root children, as I thought that they would lead to the entrance to their coven. For these three, my own sisters have created a faction of deceased Freyin living within the forest of fear, and I believe that the red roots, the crimson red roots, are also their design, and in many ways I am responsible for this plague that has struck our land, and I am responsible for the ever expanding forest. So I deserve every namesake that have been thrown upon me. Witch, charlatan, hag, all of these are in some ways true, but I could not, I dared not, I could not tell you this, because Anadura and its people are really all that I have. And trying to correct my mistakes, covering up my trails have been my pastime, my work for many cycles now, and it was only by Chigata, your smoke and the clarity that it brought afterwards, this almost euphoric state, that I felt that I could share this information with you. My sisters are probably still alive within the forest, and they would have made markings, made a secret koan where they could keep making these children of the root, so that they might raise their own army, and for what purpose I do not know, but I can feel it every night. When the darkness comes, I feel their presence, and I am afraid.
I look utterly just sickened and disgusting. How could you do this? How could you do this to your own?
Now you
I was-
realize that Farragut died as a result of that Mandragora stuff you're talking about, right?
Yes. Yes, I accept full responsibility, though
Now
I know
explain to me why I shouldn't crush your head.
Mustn't go around
Because
crushing the heads of those that wish atonement, Dakar. I kind of look back at her, still with like a narrowed eye, like hard-faced.
He growls at you, Solomon.
well, crushing my head would bring me I do not fear death, though I loathe it, because it would mean that I had no chance to redeem myself or help anyone. So please, I will not ask you to spare my life in fear, but to spare my life so I might finally help someone. I know that I am a Dagataka. I am speaking out of line, but
I'll wave my hand. Very, very well, very well. You will be given a chance at redemption. You will earn forgiveness if you can, but you have a lot of earning to do. You owe a great, great debt to this community. You wear a heavy, long shadow, and it coats your skin, worse even than the Dwomas of Dawn. Shadow is the worst thing that there is. You shall work until breath expires from you. You shall likely never earn forgiveness in the eyes of any of the gods and creators that are righteous. You will be broken, and you will go to places that are unwholesome when you die. But perhaps, just perhaps, You can earn a gold sparkle on your soiled soul. Work with every moment you have left. Work for us and forget yourself. That is your only salvation. You have made misery.
Hmm. Yes, I will sacrifice myself to this cause, and I
You.
must say I am relieved to finally speak of this.
Mm.
And it's been a burden, but I do not seek any any um, any understanding from you.
And you shall
Only
not find it.
oh,
What you have done is abominable to the ogres, to the Freyine, to our home, to the winds, to the land, to the fire. You are of worship shadow, unbeknownst or beknownst. Such is despicable. I can barely look at you, though once I called you a friend. You will earn those titles, if you can, and we shall see.
I
hmm.
look at you, you gotta, and like I share a look with you, like, of course. I kind of like, of course, it's a dog, dog would do some stupid, like, just kind of. I look back at her, like, very disapproving face, just. Then I said, you said you had sisters, was it?
Yes, three of them. I was the youngest, and I had just recently been taught the secrets of the herbs, of the roots of the plants, and my sisters they were uh, angrier than me. It seemed like our parents, that my mother might have copulated with an ogre before breeding them, as some of its attributes were surely on display uh, with my sisters. And I'm sure they are still alive, and I am sure that if they spot me, they will lounge for me. They will try to strike me down, and I accept this. I accept the fact that I
How do they
inadvertently.
survive there in the wood of pine with the hungry ones, with the Ulthar? How?
They are they are not weak, not by any measure. They know how to possess roots, earth, soil to do their bidding, and it seems, I will not mince words, that the shadow arts that we performed only served to corrupt their souls, but in this corruption strengthen them, making them a sharp arrow point of corruption of
Oh,
So you're saying they're gonna turn the forest itself against us.
I'm sorry, but this is sickening me. I am utterly sickened at the fact that you have reveled in darkness and had it penetrate you. The true depths of what you have done and yet not told us. I I attempt to wall my mind from, so I cannot fathom such things. I cannot be plagued by them. What you have done is Algerian in its very aspect. Oh, please tell us not the full of it. I cannot bear it. I, I might be forced to inflict the vengeance of the wasp upon you, though I
I
wish
will
not to. My anger stirs and rises in belly. What you have done
I
to us
I
all!
will
And my
I will
eyes are
yes.
wide. Like I look like I'm about to just
Mm,
wig on her and just do something horrible.
mm. Uh, the the only I ask no forgiveness, and I know none shall come for me, but I will tell you this. I Me and my sisters, we saw the early stages of Anadora, and we started as an outpost of 2,000 Freyin strong, and we housed, I think, 200 ogre, and raiding party after raiding party, shattered after shattered, suicide after suicide. The forest claimed everyone and all until only 300 of us remained, and we were young, we were foolish, we
And the forest
we
claimed you and each one of your sisters as well. Just because
Yes.
you're alive doesn't mean you haven't been broken by darkness.
This is true.
It is very true. Do not snivel. I have grown tired of it. Tell us the very last of what we need to know. I have been through something beautiful, and now I look at something ugly.
Okay. Very well. I will tell you all that I know of my sisters. When I walk in the daydream, it seems like I cast a shadow. At first I didn't understand it. I thought it was just a phantasm, something looming, but then it seems that they are ever present with me as when we I am sorry, I must give you some detail. As we drank each other's blood dripping from the roots, it seems like parts of the stuck with me, and I do not believe that they can exist separate from me, and I cannot exist separate from them. And if we reach their keep, if we strike them down, I will surely perish with them. And if I don't, I will remain there and purge those lands until the Ulfr claim me. My soul is damned, and I am in many ways an abomination, but this has led to, at least...
Drinking blood. You might as well be one of them. I look at her just revulsion. You are a wolf fairy amongst us. And I glance around at some of the other people, and my hand kind of slides down towards my dagger and starts fingering it. And then I just turn. I put my hands up and turn and turn my back on her. And I just start walking away. I cannot hear you any longer. I shall not hear your words.
She doesn't snivel or make any crying noises, but
I walk
Tears
about
does.
15 feet away, and then I spin back, and there's real, horned anger in my eyes. When this is finished, you will leave. You will have one day, once this is finished, to leave. And if I ever see you here in my community again, I will take both of your eyes out, drag you into the woods, and leave you there for them to eat.
Fair. This is more than fair. This is more than I deserve.
But what? I do not wish to hear them again. That did not change.
Oh.
We will leave tomorrow. And I turn and walk away from her, very clearly shunning her.
And as you do, many Freyin now, after being purged of the sickness, you have gained immense stature amongst your people, and they follow your lead. They walk looking at Yaya with disgust. Some of them muttering that she, as you have said, she is no better than they are. She would run with the wolves if given the opportunity, and now you can see that some have almost made this angry mob, staring her down, holding bits of wood and someone even a rock, and they are starting to scream that the allegations that she was a witch, a hag, that she have called the wolf fairies to Anadura all this time, that these accusations are in fact true, and that she has fooled everyone, and people are starting to claim that she's the reason their significant others didn't return from the from the lumbering parties, and she is facing down what might be the first stoning in Rhodoland, as people are grabbing what in frustration, in fear, as in maybe looking upon the ogres and seeing their rage, they are afflicted by it. Maybe it's the smoke, but they are hailing, hurling whatever inanimate object they can find at her.
The
And
first
she.
one. Sorry. Oh, I was gonna say the first one that like picks up a rock and they have that look like I'm gonna get you, and they get ready like to throw it at her. I actually with a little bit of a leap and my wings expand to carry the distance to get to them, and I'll land almost like hard next to them, and I'll buffet my wings and I get their attention real quick, and then I'll touch them very gently on the shoulder. And I'll just shake my head, and I'll look at the others that are grabbing rocks and whatnot. I just look at them, and I slowly just look at them like giving a disapproval sort of look. They will not bring misery to any here in Holy Rodland, even if they were betrayers. I look back at her, disgusted. I love.
Could
So
you roll?
Dakar turns to the ogres and he says, "Let her death be in service to this community. She will die, I assure you, either by our hand, but preferably it should be by theirs. We should turn her against the forces that assailed us, and make use of her. Bashing her brains out here is an unfitting end, even for one such as her."
Yes. You two, would you please roll either, I guess, diplomacy, to try to convince this crowd that she is worthy of being
Can I roll
spared at this
intimidate?
point? Well, you are intimidating, but it was quite a diplomatic speech. So no, for this, I guess diplomacy would be better.
Okay, I don't. It's like a minus bunch of things. Let's see. Yeah. And let's see. My presence is diplomacy tied? Yeah, I don't have it like as a skill, but is it tied to presence?
Yes.
Okay, so 15.
I got 11.
All right.
Want something else? Do you want more? Or...
Oh, yeah. Wendell, what was your
I said 15.
total?
Yep,
15.
total.
All right. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah. With the mob weak from exhaustion, they like petulant children, they throw the rocks aside. They're pieces of wood and plank. They some go as far as to spit at the golden reed next to her, but they each and every one exits the town center, slowly making their way to their respective housings. For this ritual and the drinking, the and the process it took to cleanse the lungs, it's almost sunset, and people are trying to find their calm once more.
I approach Yagata, as things are winding down.
All right, just give me 1 second. I wanted to sort of mention what I did after I walked away, and this will kind of play into where you find me. I am before my skeps, my large stacks of hay that contain a multitude of beehives behind my small home. managing the straw, looking at the bees, nervous, exhausted, and very angry. And I just sort of whisper to them in almost a buzzing tone, She was my mentor. She taught me so many things of the roots, of the herbs, of the grasses, of the barks, of even those foul, horrendous trees. So many, many, many things she taught me. But it was all a lie, and tears began to stream down my soot-stained cheeks. It was all a lie. She She lied day after day after day. And I defended her. I said, no, no, she's not a witch. Just because she's a Takataka doesn't mean she should be treated as beneath us. And they said, no, she's a liar. She's a witch. She's a Takataka. She's touched by El Som. And I said, no, and I stuck up for her over and over and over again. And I put her as a root to the golden reed that is the community, is our building blocks. She lied to me from the beginning. Everything. Everything I thought was untrue. It was a deception. She is a Dagataka. They are bad. They are deceivers. They should not be in our community, in our homes. She must be shunned. She must be banned. She is a bad root that sprouts from blackened soil, that grows at night, that looms strong in the shadow, like the things that grow in that accursed forest. Damned, I wish I could burn it all down. I feel it there in my heart. It sings. She made my heart sing. I loved her so very much. I loved this place so much, and she would destroy it. She would destroy our home, profane it with witchcraft and with magic of those gloomy celestial spheres, with those shadows of log trees, with bark and grubs and rotten things, with fungus and mushroom, with night-touched poison. And have I learned such poison? Have I learned such diabolic arts? I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps I have learned and even thought bad things to be normal. I must review in my mind whatever corruption she has set to grow there. I must find truth and flame. And at that point, it's probably like when you find me, I'm down there like fucking with the bees and just sort of mumbling to myself. And just maybe as you catch me from an angle, you can see the tears mixing with the soot and blackening my face all the more.
Eyes go wide. I said, you gotta. I'm like startled.
I shake my head coming from my revelry, and I turn and look at you. What? And I begin to, at that point, I begin to blush at adding, and then my eyes drop from you. My poor self-image pulled so strongly back again as I think of the fact that I was conned by this woman, that I'm so stupid that I couldn't see all that was before me, and I just kind of looked down. I'm on my knees already at the point where I just looked down sort of humbly, very non-ladylike.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I would have liked to seek your counsel before the coming night. I had something. It was a simple matter, really. I could come back later. You know, I'm just sort of looking at.
No. What is it? What is it? I kind of rub my face, and I look just drained and exhausted. What?
I approach you, and you know, I lean down and I reach out my hand to like lift you, to stand you up, kind of thing.
Thank you. And I feel like frailer, and I look thinner, and I look miserable and heartbroken. But I stand.
And my hand,
how tall are you, brother?
I'm only about 5'7".
How tall are you?
5'7".
Oh, 5. I'm 6'1", so I look well down at you at this point.
Yeah.
My red hair or orange hair still burning, but And while I look sad and broken, there's also this deep smoldering hate in my eyes.
My hand rests on your shoulder, and I grip it, perhaps a little bit too longer than what would be appropriate for someone that is already that you know to be married. But
The
like I
flame
gently,
out at that moment.
and like I have a look in my eyes, like are you, like a very compassionate look in my eyes, and then I let go of your shoulder, and well, if it seems that there will be a hunt, or shall I call it a war, that we'll be bringing our community into. What I'm wearing here is modest, but if you can help me weave something perhaps a bit more uh, protective, uh, if we are to seek Ulfar blood, I would like to be as uh, ready as I can. I don't know if there is any left. Like I was looking into your eyes as I was speaking, and I look away, kind of like breaking the tension. But I don't know how much stock thread is left. Any of the golden reed. Much was burned, but I look back at you. Uh, if there is any, I do not know if you can help me weave armaments for myself and for as many as we can.
It takes a while to make such things. It would take days. Yes, of course I know how to weave, but well, I don't.
What? Well,
I don't think we.
but perhaps not to make them, but if you could show me how to properly adorn oneself.
Yeah, of course, of course. Let me show you into my home. I have a loom well made for weaving.
Yeah, yes.
And I just turn and I walk in just with sort of a slumped, just almost defeated posture. I illumine my house. I begin to show you the loom, and in fact, you can see there's already a pair of pants that I'm weaving on there. I take that down carefully, hanging it over a hook on the wall of the golden reed of my home, and I begin to take out some more fabric and bolts for for weaving. You wished me to. What exactly now? I'm sorry, my mind is like vapors of smoke.
Yes, I could see that. It is quite visible. Um, I, um,
Apologies.
I would like to mm, know how to wear proper armaments of that of a warrior. Do you have
You have not.
no, no. I have not done such a thing.
You have not been in combat before.
That was my first in the Dark Forest. I bring my chin up at that, like,
I kind of move forward towards you, sort of touch you, like just over your heart slightly, and a rosy hue mixes with the dark ash of my face. That was your first. Oh my, you acquainted yourself quite well, considering it was your first.
I smile, and I put my hand on your hand, and and I hold it tightly, and I nod,
I quiver slightly.
and I slowly like pull the hand away, and not like get off me, but like just like very casual. It is the teachings of my mother that have given me courage in those moments of fear. Blessed
Of
I am,
course.
surely.
Well, yes. Let me see. I have and I start like rummaging around through a old box. Looks like it packed away clothes from many cycles ago. And I begin to pull some things out. I have this. This is an old jerkin. I don't think it's really well sized to you. It's mine from when I was just in the bud of femininity. Let me see. Perhaps I can make some adjustments and modifications. And I begin to take it out, and I begin to show you. Uh, I begin to take your measurements, and I begin to show you, some tricks and some ways, basically to hem a garment and to let it out and so forth. And you will see I'm a very accomplished weaver. I do have for your edification, understanding five grades of weaver, as well as the +1 roll that friends receive.
My wings gently like press against you when you get close and stuff. As you're taking my measurements, I'm just.
Yeah, a rosy pallor continues to remain upon my cheeks, and my touch lingers longer than it would need to, showing you both strength and softness.
I thank you for doing this.
And as I expanded, how you need to wear the armor, how you need to turn your body, where you need to use the armor, where blows should be absorbed, how you should move carefully. And I make some rather large cutting holes in the back of it to allow for your wings. Now, I've never dealt with someone with wings before, so this is outside of my realm of knowledge. I mean, they're very lovely. Don't get me wrong. They're really lovely, but besides that, I think I've let out enough fabric here. I don't wish to damage jerk and provide less protection. Still, your wings themselves seem most vulnerable targets. Perhaps it will be confusing to the Ulfar, whatever the horrors those accursed pines hold. We'll certainly not be leaving in the morning, though. I will need many hours to meditate. I haven't in days now. My mind is nearly playing tricks on me, fevered exhaustion. But I think this looks very nice on you. And I show you into a mirror and look at your reflection and kind of turn you slightly. Always my hands seem to find and definitely explore the texture and feel of your wings. Can you feel when I do this? Touch your feathers?
And I just nod. I turn to you and I just nod. I smile. And I look back at the mirror at myself. Doing an excellent job here.
When I blush and kind of lower my head.
And I turn back, I look up at you, and is this something to pass the time during the night? Many have fallen into their drinks, and they have fallen deep into their own trance and slumber. I'll watch out during this night. I thank you for your time. I do not want to take any more of it away from you. You are you are busy, and your holy rites. Forgive me, I'm not familiar with the teachings of Seichen, but I know of her name. She is good.
Yes, Sitchin is the goddess of, and I kind of take a few steps back slightly. My aspect certainly far more demure than the vast majority of Freyne women. She is the goddess of community, of daughter of Ugvail and Morgul. She has found me from a very early age, one of
and I'm nodding. Like I have a look of like, oh, like I kind of understand, well, what she's talking about. But as she's speaking, I'll gesture, um, you know, back to the jerkin, and
Down at the. I couldn't hear what you said. You broke up.
you were breaking up, so I was speaking during you
Oh
breaking. So that's why.
no.
No, but while you're speaking, I'm just sort of nodding and I'm paying attention very, very keenly. But you get the sense that
Well,
I have some idea of it. I'm like, oh yes,
I said I did not. I did not have the luxury of a Rotterdam birth, and it
yes.
was a prophet of Sitchin that rescued me and brought me here. I am. When I look down, like, and my face just goes uh, like 20 shades of red, of just a complete embarrassment. I was born in, and I almost kind of covering my mouth slightly, but you hear the words. I was born in Zansraheim.
I I kind of straighten my back up. I kind of pull away from you for a moment. Oh, but you've made quite a home for yourself, and I say to what you have done this day, I believe you are on a most righteous path now from that wrong
I
place.
just, I lower my head as an aura of utter shame just pours out of me. Yes, thank you. And I sort of slowly backstep away from you a little, and my aura is just gone to very nervous and probably on the verge of broken.
I look at you and I say, please, there's no need to be ashamed for your past. You have surely been brought up quite a high height now. You've made a home for yourself. You've made a life for yourself. It is not something that you should forget. Something that you
No,
should honor.
yes, you are certainly right. Uh, Sitchin teaches us to be courageous, to be brave and strong and even bold. And I kind of lean in slightly, and then I kind of turn my head away, and my eyes find like the bottom portion of the large mirror that I was having to look into. But from the mirror, I watch you carefully.
And like I walk closer to you, and
My
I
back is slightly turned towards you now.
my wings sort of open up slightly, and you hear like brushing up against some cups that like fall down onto the soft ground of the dwelling. And I go and I embrace you and I hug you, like a very caring sort of hug, and I rest my head against your neck. Desperately, I'm trying to feel that strong female connection that I'm longing for my wife. I've been separated from her for so long, and so now, I'm doing that almost like trying to, you know, in my mind, I'm trying to feel that again. Um, but uh, I like pat like hold like I hug you deeply, um, and that's what I do.
You smell a scent of strong smoke mixed with sweat and sort of the perspiration of a body, and 'tis a note. Fran's, instead of actually having like body odor in an objectionable way, such as a human or an ogre would, they smell very floral, very fragrant, almost flower-like, uh, as they emit nothing but smells that are most wondrous. Uh, Often problematic to them, and you can smell that ripe but alluring animalistic scent coming off, and is the smell of buttercups and daisies and roses and such that sort of mix together in that blend, coming off strong. And I tremble slightly at first under your touch, but then I straighten out, and I while you're behind me, I kind of turn my head back towards you, looking deep into your eyes, questioningly.
And almost without acting or not thinking of what I am doing, I lean in for a deep and passionate kiss.
I begin to kiss you back, my lips finding yours over and over again, my tongue dancing in your mouth, and you find yourself on my bed very quickly as passion overcomes me, subsumes me, and
like I like completely take the very docile, sort of submissive role that of a male Freyine. But I
become
indulge
very,
myself, and I'm imagining like I'm doing this with her, but I'm imagining, of course, my wife. Well, and and I'm, we're busy, and there are times when like I pause, like I want you to obviously take control in this sort of situation.
I take control very quickly, and the feelings of shame of my past, of my teacher who betrayed me, and all of us fall away to the strength that I gave this community today as I ride him hard and fuck him as long as he is able, and perhaps past that point. And I feel better about myself. I feel a worthiness to have something this beautiful under me in my bed to make it mine is making me think perhaps, just perhaps, I am worth something. I am something of great value to this community, to my people, to this whole land.
I'm just afterwards. I cuddle very closely to you. My wings sort of wrapping us both together on the bed, and I'm just nestling my ear going against your chin and under your on the side of your face as I'm just sort of nestling under your head and your neck.
I crane and hold your head close to the top of my chest, and of course, you will notice the golden reed bed that had assembled quickly upon my desire and whispering to it is stained ever so slightly crimson with the blood of the first sexual relation.
And I'm like a little like I'm not in that moment. I don't quite notice. It takes me a few moments, and I'd see that, and I have a moment like, oh, but then I have a moment of, and I just relax and I enjoy this sort of moment. And I like I don't move out from this, and I sort of enjoy this for until the next day, or until she kicks me out.
I definitely do not kick you out. I just lay there lovingly with you, stroking your hair and caressing your wings as I find them most wondrous. And with that, we probably cut over to Wendell as the camera pans back from the young lovers.
Yes, and the car, you find yourself in the company of drinking ogres as the sun settles. One ogre, calling himself Bulhavk, he approaches you, having drank far less than any of the other ogres, and this has caused quite the amount of anger from the others. But he sits down close to you, and he begins to speak, and he asks you, Dekar, Faragur was taking us all to Frehim to try to tame the rage inside of us, and you have done nothing but fuel it, and I have felt it, and I have enjoyed it, and I ask not that I liked it and I chose it for myself, but I ask you, when we speak of war, of our fighting, we speak often we do not indulge in the words, we do not speak dramatically like Freyines do of their conquests. And I believe that this could be because we are not fully experiencing combat when we are raging. We are merely in combat. We are combat, but we are not onlookers of combat. And isn't this counterproductive to what you wish to accomplish?
We become closer to our god Mul when we indulge in our rage. Faragher had his way, and I respected him as an ogre, but that is not my way. And if you wish to go on to Frahim, then do it. You do not have to follow me. Do so only by your own accord. I am going to rage, and I do not go for the ways of peace like some ogres choose to do. I am what I am, and I will be uh, that way until I die, because we all shall die, brother. All we get to do is choose in the manner of our deaths and the glory of it, just like Faragher did.
But what glory really has become of him if he himself felt that his quest was to bring us to Freyheim and he perished on a wild hunt in the dark forest. I do not feel that. I will join you, I will, but I will not rage alongside you. I will be fighting next to you, onlooking rage. I will be able to tell the tale of your rage. But I must say I am confused. Wouldn't it be a greater glory to strike the Ulfur down and not perish? Why this fascination with your own undoing?
Because we do not choose it. It is not something that we can control. Death comes at any time, whenever, wherever. All we get to do is to choose how we live and how we meet that. I shall not meet mine calm. I shall meet mine in the way of our creation, with rage, stone at my feet and stone in my hand as I bash my enemy's head into gore.
And a lot of ogres, they cheer you on now, and they shun both the cowardice of Bulhark, and they make fun of his limited
He puts his
drinking.
hand. He puts his hands on his shoulders, not in like a threatening way, not in a way that's meant to intimidate him or to add to the people who are laughing at him. He just simply says, "Be what you are, brother. You don't worry about whether or not you're going to live tomorrow. We may not wake tomorrow morning, but now let us be what we are. Let us be ogres."
The what you speak is the truth. I had when the disease came over me, I thought that I would perish at that point. Before that, Beekeeper
Do not
healed
worry about
us
death,
all.
brother. Death comes.
But
The eyes of
I
Ahriman
was ready
gaze down
to.
upon us each night. Death is coming for us, and there is nothing you or anyone else can do about it. All we can do is to choose to live freely, live as what we are. Get pissed off, brother.
But I have to, brother. I mean no offense, but I have to disagree. See, if I was out and I couldn't hunt, if a hunter would find me and bring me food, it would be surely a disgrace, but I would live. And now a herbalist came and saved me from another way of dying. It seems like choosing the right allies might mean actually choosing your time of death, or maybe avoiding it altogether. I have heard of beings in Kvegathale who live on forever. Some they are also like us, aspects made of stone. I think they are called. I do not something a I do not remember, but they are like living stone, not made flesh like us. Maybe we could become like them. Maybe if we
No,
didn't
brother.
rage,
We
we would
are what we
become
are. Look,
rigid.
we lived through those situations because we happened to be with who we were with, but you can't depend on them. Yes, we live now today and we live to fight harder, and that is good. That is the glory of Mu. But the glory of Mu is not found in waiting around and worrying about what tomorrow may bring. The glory of Mu comes when we fight and when we rage and when we be what we are.
Hmm. You have given me much to think about, brother, and I must say I am torn. I thought that serenity was what I needed, but you do make raging
Why
together,
fight against what you are? Why fight it?
because why would it have to be all I am? I am Bulark. I am an ogre, but I am also a carpenter, a drinker of alcohol, and all of this is washed away when I rage. And I want to be more than just rage, for there have been many who have raged, and I know just one of them, and that was Faragur, and he was beyond what would be expected from us. And I do not believe I can follow in Faragur's footsteps, and who will remember me, brother? Who will? When we all perish in that forest.
Death comes, brother, and there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is live and be true to who you are. If you feel that you should not rage as I do, then don't. But you can live in the glory with your brothers. Aid us. Can you work steel, brother? Or iron, or anything?
I know how to make weapons,
Alright,
but I
so
have never worked a forge.
Uh, I don't. It doesn't need to look good. So he goes and he looks for one of the barrels that is empty, and he breaks it and he takes off the I guess what the iron ring that was holding the barrel
Mhm.
together, and so he's gonna ask the guy to. Uh, we have no clothes. We're all nude, and that's how we might go into battle. But I ask you, let us use what we have. And he's asked him to basically work the metal around various points of his limb. It probably won't function as armor. It more so just looks intimidating. But yeah, he wants him to fashion some, I guess, very small clothing out of a few iron bars that he found around and throws them.
Yes! This will do, brother.
So
I
all ogres
know
start
now.
smashing barrels to get iron.
I know now what I must do. If you are the weapon, I will be the shield, the armor. If I can make you
Yes,
live.
brother, and let me be your witness as I carry your work into battle.
Yes, this is good. This is good. My worth will be making you survive your second trip to the forest. If I can do that, I will be remembered. I will be more than Rage, but Rage will be part of me because I protected Rage. For Rage.
You are an
Oh,
ogre. We are ogres, and, and they start chanting as they throw the rest of their alcohol up and down, and as they fall into a traditional ogre song.
drink up, brothers! Bring me every piece of scrap you can find. And he
Yeah, they all try to.
shoves
They
his
all shout.
drink. And he gets to work bending the iron with his hands, sometimes putting it up to his knee to gain more leverage, and he fits it to himself. He tries it on himself, but he looks at you like, I hope this fits. And he seems
Take the semi-hot
ex
iron bar and tie it around his arm, and Dakar just like screams out at first in pain and then in pure rage as he works that iron bar around his arm.
and uh, as the night progresses, as the as the two friends have found each other in the hay, you have found only pain and iron, and with the first light of morning, your impromptu armor is adorned on top of your body, forged onto you. Getting you out
Yeah.
would mean striking. You would have to break the armor apart, and it consists of these half circles bent in and under each other like they are woven together almost, and sometimes they are they collapse inwards, uh, close to your arms and your body, and sometimes they are voluminous and they protrude out, giving you an even larger chest, an even larger stomach than before. And you were standing
So
on.
he's gonna bring out like a table, stand on top of the table, and says, "Tomorrow, in the morning, brothers, we shall go, and we shall fight, and we shall die, and we shall show them the purity of our rage, and in that way we will go closer to our Creator. And if we return to the earth, we will rise again, bloody and red, as an ogre, as ogre kind. We share our anger, and our anger pierces through the ages. Let us go into battle and live in glory," he shouts.
And with these shoutings, the last few uh, of the Freen who are still experiencing the daydream or just meditating are roused from it, and once more everyone is gathered now along the ash-filled grounds of yesterday's ritual, and Yaya stands, having packed a large backpack, and you can see that uh, uh, the cloth has trouble finding enough room to make a knot as it's filled to the brim, and she stands holding the shoulder straps with one in each hand, and with her gaze lowered, only looking at her feet. And as soon as someone tells her to move out of the way, she makes doubly sure to move at least 7 steps away from someone, as she is more than an outcast at this point.
I'm gonna spend like it's gonna be well past noon by the time I'm done with my meditations. I of course don't sleep, and I am not going to meditate at night. Certainly at a night when so many demons have been unleashed in our home. I will take to burning some soothing, scented roots and berries and leaves around me in small copper pots, 3 of them that I placed triangularly around myself. And I use the triangle often as a reminder of where I came from, how far I have come from there. And I do this near my skeps, meditating, and I will let many hours pass. As I'm exhausted. It's been days since I've meditated. The entire time I was in the forest. At no point would I do that. For that is only to beg for nightmares, and I feel I may be going in there for many days as well. Typically only needing about 2 hours. I will take 7, maybe even 9, and I hit meditation as soon as Elsam's last rays have left, while her teary dewdrops are still upon the skeps in the ground, and I attempt to take my lover Salmu by the hand and lead you out to enter into the daydream with me as well.
Yeah, I'd walk out with you, but and as you set up your triangle and you situate yourself, I look at the triangle and I look at you, and I give a bit of a smile, as I go into sort of a lotus petal seating arrangement outside, like nearby you, probably like in front of you, at the point of the triangle, you're facing that point, and I'm just sort of in front of you, and my wings sort of expand as I sit down, and they fall behind me, behind my back as as I just put my hands on my knees and I gently begin to feel that drift back to trance. When I come out of the daydream before Yagata, when I open my eye, when I come back to my body, and I see Yagata again, it's different. It's a different feeling washes over me entirely. And I get up. I get up and I sort of situate myself a bit, and I look around almost hastily, to seeing if anyone else had seen us back here. I look around for a few moments, and then I go and I find if there's any sort of wild sunflowers or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find one and I'll pick it and I'll rest it, at the tip of Yagata's triangle, and I'll leave her to her meditations while I clean myself up, go into a bucket of water, as would be very normal for a Freyne that would just come out of trance.
Considering you entered the daydream early, but kept it for quite a while, eyes might have been upon you if not for the fact that the car is standing on a table adorned in iron, screaming at the top of his lungs, and you are greeted by this large figure after
Gotta
just
wince. When he's like yelling, they're all yelling like I just got out of the daydream, like. And I continue, I have like a bucket, some cloth and a bucket of water, and I'm just washing it over my, my face, and my hair, cleaning my feathers as well. As I pull the wing close, and I'll wash it, and it's like I'm just grooming myself, similar to that perhaps of a bird, but using my fingers, to part the feathers and find little bits of dirt or ash, and clean that off. The whole time I'm just sort of watching Dakar and seeing that, and like there'll be moments Dakar, like when you see me watching you, and like the other ogres, but it's not like a disappointed look. It's more of a look of concern I give, kind of like I'm thinking in my head like, oh, he's going to be exhausted. Did he stay
You
up all
should be
night?
concerned. He's covered in iron that's crudely wrapped around various points of his limbs, offering no actual protection, more so just a look of complete intimidation, as he looks like to be some pale pink, monstrous beast covered in bits of metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've no grades in guile or anything like, so I'm a pretty easy read. So I'm just I tell my head, oh my, and then I turn back and continue cleaning myself.
and eventually even Yugada comes to after spending a long, well-deserved time in the daydream, regaining composure, ataraxia, centering herself.
I come to from the daydream, still buzzings in my ear, looking around, of course, being there all alone at the moment. As my mind is finally recentered from the utter exhaustion of the dark wood, from the utter exhaustion of the day before, its high points and low points, and the extension of myself to the entire of the community, my battles with my own low self-esteem, as well as finding a higher point, and my emotions just in a complete tizzy before I have long reflected upon them. And reflecting upon all these things deep now in that daydream as I've come from it, my mind is percolating with ideas, with love, and with anger. with sorted out thoughts on all those in the community and what my place is in it, and an acceptance of the challenge that must be waded through again in the pine. And
I should
I
note
will.
there is a like a sunflower, like where like at the tip of the sort of triangle that surrounds you. You know, like I'm gone, but the sunflower's there, like almost like a
I
love that for you.
smile widely. I pick it up with the most gentle of grace, and I just hold it very, very gently against my heart and feel my heart beat reverberate back against my hands as joy leaps in my eyes. Finally, I find myself back in my home, carefully preserving this uh, sunflower there in my home, and I acquire some food and replenishing my water skin for the journey ahead. And I will bathe myself in the stream to the west of our home, cleaning off the ash and the remnants of smoke, and cleaning my clothing before I return to my community.
And after you have cleaned yourself, the quite a lot of Freyin have decided to join in to the journey into the Forest of Fear, and every single one of the ogres have decided to follow the car. But everyone's kind of standing around now that Celevis and her team of lumber suppressors have already entered the forest the day before, and Janaya being an outcast, they look for someone to give them direction. And when you are washing up and some of you're slowly entering the center where people are standing, Bulhark screams at the top of his lungs, "Can't you see the armor that I've made that will crush the filthy wolf pest? We go now, right?"
Yes, their poisons will not penetrate this. And Dakir shows himself, and he like kind of turns around proudly to display the armor that has been rudely like twisted around his body.
We mustn't go with haste, not yet. Kind of in like a sudden ordered out voice, and I pause as I look at the car again, like kind of grimacing out.
he looks at a combination of annoyance and disappointment.
Not
As
until
I move over there,
not until all that are ready to go are here. We must all be ready and prepared for this journey. Let's stay together and watch out for each other. Then I see you got it like coming, and then I kind of
and when I meet up with you, beam, I beam, and it's just love and total girlfriend attachment. I
get a
mean,
nice smile.
you just see it. You see it.
Back of my mind, I'm like, oh my, but I just smiled.
And I move like right up to you, like less than a foot from you, and I kind of do this thing where it's almost like I'm stretching out my calves. I'm kind of going up on my tiptoes periodically, and there's this sort of weird, happy, frenetic, nervous energy about me as I'm kind of going up and down, and my eyes are even wider than the huge wideness that they naturally have.
You ready, you gotta. Are you ready for our journey?
I look like just for a moment I have no idea what you're talking about. They go, yes, it is. It is time now that we enter collectively into the wood and do what must be done. I applaud all of you for the bravery you have found and for the strength that you show to face the fear and beat back the forest to not allow it to push us around with its plagues and slippery black shapes that slide into our skin. Cannot have such things. Fire. Fire is what we must use. Fire is what they fear. Let it burn them. Let it burn them all.
And you'll see that I'm wearing, like, after I clean myself, I'm wearing that sort of makeshift, now wearing sort of a modest dress for this occasion, but this is an occasion of war, and I'm wearing what Yagata had adapted in the short time that I was allowed.
So in one hand, Dakir has his left hand. He has a torch. In the other, he has his ogre sling. But now there seems something a little different about it. Strewn in the head of the ogre sling is a bunch of rusty nails, just like tacked through the leather. Looks also very intimidating.
Like I assume that a lot of others are in like makeshift, like protective clothing or weaponry, and I most certainly am keeping that theme going.
Yeah, like a couple of ogres have like just like shards of wood wrapped around their arms and just wrapped with like burnt leather. Just whatever they could get their hands on has been forged into either armor or weapons.
And I wait for Yagata, after she finishes speaking, I wait for her to start taking her steps before then. I gesture towards everyone with my wings. I like that's the signal. Like now we go, kind of thing. And then I
I
follow.
look to the left, I look to the right, and I begin to walk into the dark wood. I show no fear to the trees, only contempt, and the contempt of a queen bee furiously protecting her hive.
And as you walk with powerful strides towards the dark forest, the woman who you forced into the smoke tent, Malia, approaches you, her hair washed for the first time in many shanes, her eyes finally free from those large black markings of not of tiredness, and she stands upright and she lays a hand upon your shoulder, Jigata, as you walk, and with a voice so far from that cackling, demeaning voice she held yesterday, she thanks you. I finally reached a tranquil state for the first time in forever this morning. It was admittedly still during the sunrise, but to me it was like the highest of bliss, and I believe that you purged whatever being held my tranquility in its clutches yesterday. And Jigara, I thank you. You have given me strength once more. You have strengthened me, and in turn I will strengthen those next to me.
I turn and look at her, and a look of pride is in my eyes, and I put my hand on her. I'm very glad to see that you have been returned to us in sanity, but I did nothing for you, except beseeched on your behalf. It was Sitchin who liberated your mind. Make sure you pray to her and to Morgul, Big Vale, for each of their parts in the trinity of your return.
Yes, I made sure to thank them all in turn,
And
in order of him.
And do so tonight and tomorrow, and for every day that is left in this cycle.
Thank you. I shall. You have done much for me, and she bows before you.
I say, I have done little for you. They have done much. Remember this. It is important.
Oh, I see. Uh, they are mighty, of course. But I must admit that I see their shapes in you, and I I would lie if I wouldn't admit that I will find the strength of them from looking at you, even though I do not want you to feel responsible in any way. I will thank them, and I might not come to you again as you seem alarmed by it, but I will thank you, and I will keep an eye out for those that might wish to harm you. And she moves away from you slowly, and she goes over to the car, and she speaks with a low voice, because she is thoroughly intimidated by the hulking iron juggernaut,
As she should be.
pulsating, clanking through the gold reed. Uh, it's the car, right? I in my
Yep.
weaker
Mm-hmm.
moments gave my I'm sorry, I gave my last token of my husband to you, his axe. Do you by any chance still have it? I would very much like
Uh,
it back.
he reaches behind his back and he pulls out the axe that was strapped to his back, and he hands it to her.
Oh, yes, I will. Oh, and you can see that she was unarmed. She must have put
I
all her eggs in
apologize
one
that I couldn't
basket.
take as many of the biters' heads with it, but you rest assured that I'll come back with a whole bin of biters for you, and in your husband's name.
And she kind of stands up a little, puts her chest out and her shoulders down, and she smiles at you. Let's do it together. And she takes the axe for my husband, and she with new invigorated strength that she has not had in many days, she takes the lead of the pack, running, axe held high, letting out a war shout, and she is quickly joined by many ogres who do not want to seem less ferocious than a Freyin woman any less. And
Yeah,
so
Dakar is certainly among
uh,
that group.
the the stampede towards the dark forest begin, and I would like a soliloquy from you guys. If that'd be okay, and Lou, if you would orchestrate the music, that would be
Oh,
great.
it's ready. It's ready.
Cool.
I'll start.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I just want to find. Where is it? Whatever. Okay. So, stepping closer and closer to that dark wood again. Stepping a bit closer and closer, memories of the past day, of the disease, of the people in their hurt, in their sickness, the way the smoke and the fire, strange manner of which Yagata conducted these rituals of this other faith. I've never heard of this faith. The specific ways in which they practice. Born of Rodlin, born of light and dream. I'm born of a golden paved road and buildings that stretch high towers of the Drottning herself. Not this fire insectoid winged thing that she gives worship to. See the worth there, the name Seishin, yes. The Annals of Dazazia. Speaking of her, that is a good name. Seishin, that is, she is good. See the strength coming from Yagata. That is good that she is bringing that up to her surface, as is her right for being Freyin. She is the representation of Dazazia, all the women of Freya. They should hold themselves up as such, as I try my best to hold myself up in the same matter. This dark wood, this small settlement, not even a village or a town, they keep calling it these words. None of them have seen the glory and the beauty that is Rodland. That is no matter. That is no matter now, perhaps in the future. See their ogres, the trepidation they hide with their calls of shouts and rage, anger, so disappointing, really. Now this dark wood, those that dwell in it, all that dwell in it, demon, fur, other strange creatures of darkness, they will know the taste of flame, as Yagata has baptized many of these um, peoples. Stepping into this wood, I will return again, and I will come back into this wood again and again, each time culling more of these wretched things that cling to life, these wretched things of darkness, this wretched wood that dares blot out the sun, its beautiful rays. Slowly but surely, my legacy will live on if I cannot leave others in my stead. My footpit would be so large that it would leave a great mark upon this forest of darkness, so that all of them will know, all that hide in those shadows, all those cowards of darkness will know that Solmu, son of Oriel, husband of Haldis, son of even Maud, my father, they will all know. They will have this written. There will be songs of my life, my legacy, and for all that is glorious in beauty.
I guess I'll go next. Uh, I don't know how I ever lost faith in my rage, but perhaps I've learned today that there are other things out there, other gods that bring their own kind of blessings. Perhaps the truth of it isn't that rage is the perfect way, but perhaps it is my way. And to rage is to be true to myself. I've always been close to death. I woke up from my mother's womb and I looked up and I saw the twin eyes of Araman looking down on me. And death has always been coming close and it's always lurked by. But I am not afraid, for I am an ogre. I was born of the earth, and I was born of rage. And to the earth I shall return, raging and bloody and red from the glory of my enemies, and that red blood will fuel the rage of ogres from millennium to come, and I will live on through my deeds, for my brothers are around me, and they will witness what I do here today. Maybe not, maybe the some who go to peace, they have their own purpose, for it is now I wear coat of arms like those small men in the house, but now this is a armor forged of ogre hands. It is forged of ogre rage, and I shall bring that rage to the enemies in the dark forest, and finally they will know that we are not going to be prey, and that my community and my people are not one to be set upon. I shall go and do Faragur's vengeance and make him and all ogres proud.
We'll let them all hear, baby. I stare into the brambles and raspberry bushes, the vines, the thorns, and beyond them, the tall pine trees that grow together unwholesomely in terrifying canopies. I feel strong. I do not feel fear. And for the first time in my ever sad life, I feel good enough. I see them around me, and I swell with pride. I look at Solomon, and my heart beats and flutters. He is married, but he will be mine. Can be washed away with fire. And I feel the flame surging through my body. And the wolf fairy, the Ulfar, they will fear pain. They will fear flame and the smell of their flesh as it's burned to sacrifice one after another. The roots that cling, that sucked blood, that were made by my own mentor, these things cannot be abided, cannot be allowed to stand, and they will be vanquished from the world as well as all that grows and harbors here. And I feel emboldened, and I feel rage of flame scintillating under my skin. I will fear no disease, for my body is far too hot for such demons to fester within, for the cosmic forces of ancient dark wind. They fear flame, and they should. And those that are too stupid to, they will, by the time I finish with them, by the time they finish tasting my sting. In my community, I am love. To those that hurt us, I am rage. You will not take shelter from me. Not with your roots, not with your rats, not with your demons. I take shelter in my heart from the flame. I take shelter in my arms from the friendship, from the love, from this new Solmu, and even from the ogres. They will not take my shelter, but I will take theirs. I turn and look at those around me. Be brave, for today is the day the Ulfar before us die. And I take the first step into the shrouded forest.
Thank you all so much, and with that we exit the second to last session.
Make sure you head over to drivethrurpg.com and get your physical copies, hardback, softback, and even PDF of Within the Ring of Fire. First 5 books out now. You can also hit me up Facebook, Anderwood, direct link on my page right here, live and in living color, baby. and you can get a hold of the $75 PDF deal. It gets you all 5 PDFs that are out right now. It gets you bonus extras, and it gets you every other PDF that will ever be put out for Within the Ring of Fire at no additional cost. Working on 3 more books at the moment, and hopefully soon a deluge of RPG goodness will assume your mind. Join the RPG revolution, and if you already have, swing your battle axe high, barbarian horde, and play like an RPG god. Come join us on Raw Immersive Games, our official Facebook forum, and talk within the Ring of Fire, talk RPGs. You can get into all kinds of Google Plus games like this that start off from ambitious new flame tenders, as well as old ones, and you could get the taste of Kavega Thale for yourself. Like what you see, let us know in the comments below. And we appreciate each and every one of your support who have supported the RPG revolution. Good night.